Actually, succulents keep me going. Yeah, of course, other than my family member, the support of my family members. Every morning, right, I just feel so happy to look at the plant, to communicate with them. I just look at them, and then somehow they just have these kind of messages to me, about succulents. Even with pata, right, pata accidentally, they can still continue to grow. And then even though it is not growing beautifully, it can still survive very well. And someday when the sunlight is sufficient, it will continue to grow beautifully again.
Assalamualaikum dan selamat datang ke episode ketiga of Play by Ear. We are already on our third episode. That's big for me. And before I introduce my special guest today, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in. It's third time lucky, hopefully. But today I have yet another special guest. And I know everybody says they have special guests, but the guests that I invite on my show are always extra special, okay? So hari ni kita ada Yee Zhing.
Hi. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Yeasing. How are you?
Thank you for inviting.
Oh no, it's a pleasure. Okay, so Yeasing adalah seorang pengasas kepada sebuah syarikat yang menarik. It's not like every day that I get to meet somebody who works with plants. Yeah? So Yeasing has this business called Little Eden Succulents, and it has been a while now. So kita akan cerita lebih lanjut sekejap lagi. But before that, I just want to introduce a new segment, I suppose, to this show. So before kita mula bercerita dengan tetamu-tetamu istimewa kita, I would like us to be able to connect over something mutual. And who doesn't love food, right?
Yeah.
So today I brought a snack for us to try, okay? I've never had this. Have you?
No.
No,
I've never
okay.
tried also.
All right, so we're just gonna jump right in, and we're gonna try this Princeton roll creamies. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. I'm gonna butcher it. So here you go.
Ooh, okay. Miss Sneaky. Thank you.
Okay. So it's like a type of biscuit. Lepas tu dia ada chocolate and dia ada gambar prince. I don't know if you guys can see it, but yeah, very very royal. How is it?
It's good.
It's good. Excuse us while we finish on this. We'll be right back. All right, and we're back. That was pretty interesting. That was also my breakfast. Okay, so Yeasing, do you mind telling our listeners out there a little bit more about yourself?
Hi. Yes, for sure. I'm Yee Zhing. I'm a plant lover. I love all sorts of plants. I'm also an architect. I'm also a landscape designer. And at the same time, I'm also an SLE patient.
Wow, that is a long list. Right. So actually, your journey with SLE is something that, has sparked an interest in me to know more, and how it became a further stem to your business. So I just wanted to ask you, what has your journey with SLE been like? So what is SLE in the first place?
SLE is an autoimmune illness where the immune system of the body attack the body tissue itself.
I see. And how does this happen?
It can be genetic, can be environmental, but for my case, it was believed to be due to stress. High level of stress for a long period of time.
Wow. So you're saying like anybody could be at risk if they are like always stressed?
Yes, there could be triggerers, and stress could be one of the triggerers.
What were you so stressed about using?
I think, right, because I'm always a go-getter.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always in a very fast pace as well in my past career and also in my study back in uni time. We can spend like 3 days for projects, right, without sleep.
So this is for your architecture courses?
Yeah. Can you imagine 3 days without sleep?
I cannot.
you start to, you start to have these kind of all sorts of, different like dizziness, and then I can fall asleep on floor.
Wow.
It was how bad.
Is this because you're catching deadlines?
Yes, I would say so. I always believe, right, you have to be hardworking to get what you want to get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I'm always the one who push myself the hardest.
So, okay, wait. How did you get into architecture? Was it always your passion?
I would say so. I like to have I like to make handcraft items.
Okay.
I like to do all this handicraft, and then I like to draw. I like to visualize something in 3D.
Very artistic.
Yeah. But at the same time, I also love physics.
Oh, okay.
That is how I decided to maybe I can try the architecture field.
I see. So it was during that period. And how long ago was this?
You mean study architecture? It was, I think, about 10 years over. 12 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? You still look like you could pass off as a Korean student,
Serious?
Yeah.
Thank you. Glad to see.
So, like how long into the study was it that you were diagnosed with SLE? Is it SLE or lupus? Or is it the same
Lupus
thing?
is the short form of SLE. SLE could be the short form. The full name is actually systemic lupus erythematosus.
Okay.
So usually people call it as lupus or SLE.
So you prefer to call it lupus or SLE?
I think SLE because this term itself, right, systemic, right, it means it could be the whole body, the system of the body. So there are different type of lupus, but systemic is one type that affects every part of the body.
I see. Okay. And yeah, back to the question, like how long into studying were you then diagnosed with SLE?
I studied in university for 3 years, and then after that I go into my career path, right, for the first year. It was in the first year of me starting work. Then I was diagnosed with this SLE. So it was actually quite depressing for me because I thought, hey, I work so hard, right? And then I can get into a good company and then I can start my career path, right? But then I think about 2 to 3 months later, I was diagnosed with this illness.
But how, like, what were the symptoms and how did you realize that, something's not right here?
I have this very bad, very severe joint pain. At the same time, I was having this fever on and off. And the fever is like not something affecting very much until I cannot have my, daily routines. The fever is like, it subside, then it come back again. So for the joint pain, it was very severe in the morning when I wake up in the morning. Especially is that all the small joints, my fingers get very stiff. There can be like just like that, and I cannot I cannot straighten my fingers. And all the shoulder joint, all kind of joint, and then I have very severe body sore that I cannot really sit up from my bed.
Wow,
it was that bad. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, that sounds hard.
Yeah,
and you still have to go to the office with all those pain.
Yes, because I wasn't sure. I thought I was just too tired from maybe some physical exercise. Then back in that time, my office also will have to climb up the stairs and all, right? It was so difficult. And then I still have to drive to the office, right? So yeah, during the drive, turning the steering and all, it was difficult.
Even turning the steering wheel was a chore for you.
Yeah.
So like, what? How did you finally find out that this is actually, it's not your fault? You've got this SLE. When did you find out and how did you find out?
After that, I think there could be something not really good going on in the body. So I went for a checkup, and I was actually very lucky. I found this I met this doctor that he can immediately tell from my symptoms, and then he asked me to go for all these C3, C4 checkup and all. And then he told me, okay, you are diagnosed with this lupus arthritis. It was the first name that I was told, lupus arthritis.
Oof.
Then I thought it could be some normal arthritis problem, right? Then I searched about lupus. Oh, it's not something good about it. Then the doctor actually advised me, say, maybe you have to go to this government hospital because it can be a long journey for you.
Oof. How did you take that news?
I wasn't very sure about what it was happening back in that time. I took it quite lightly, like quite normal. Only after that, right? After I went back home, then I start to Google and oh, it can be very bad. Yeah.
So would you suggest that, others out there start Googling
about the symptoms?
I mean, like on one hand, it's good to know, right? Like at least, you manage your expectations in a way, like you kind of know what is like, what lays ahead, but also
I think everyone shall take care of themselves well. If let's say you are, because it's quite common, some people that would have this minor joint pain, just a bit of soreness at the joint and you're unsure why. Then sometimes you also could be thinking like me, right? Could be some physical damage. Maybe I hold something that's too heavy, right? Actually, right, if let's say you have all these kind of joint pains, even though it's minor one, it could be a symptom that your body is having inflammation. It might not be as bad yet, but when there is inflammation, right, it's actually a sign for you to get more rest, to slow down a bit.
I see.
And to sleep.
Sleep is very important, guys. Yeah. And how was it like going through lupus? And after you found out, you went on Google, and then how did that, new finding changed your life or affected it in any way?
At first, it was quite depressing from the advice from doctor, because doctor said you cannot expose to sunlight anymore. You have to always protect yourself from UV light, because UV can be one of the trigger for your flare. Yeah. Then I was like so shocked. But I stay in Malaysia. How am I going to avoid the sunlight? So no more beaches for me, right? So it was kind of depressing, but doctor advice, it's actually not that difficult. You just wear hats whenever you go out. You bring an umbrella. You apply sunblock. That's all we can do. And then doctor also advised you have to slow down your pace of life. Maybe you have to reconsider whether to continue your architecture job or not. And then I start to think, okay, I'll have to learn how to slow down. But it was new to me,
Yeah.
I didn't get to learn how to slow down.
You were such a feisty go-getter. Like, how was that transition like?
But I actually feel love. During that period of time, I feel love. Oh, I can actually slow down. I have this excuse to slow down. So I start to look for a way to distress also, to slow down myself. Then I realized, there are, these kind of plants that are very chubby. Just so happened that I scroll through, all the, the Pinterest photos, and then I saw, why there are these kind of plants that are so chubby and looking like flowers and so colorful. So I start to Google about all these plants also. And I found, they are called succulents. Cactus also a kind of succulents. Then I start to study about them.
I see. So this was during that journey of trying to slow down and de-stress.
Yes.
Interesting. And like, when did you get your first succulent? And
when I first get my succulent, actually I didn't know about succulent yet. It was way before I was diagnosed with this SLE. But I saw this pot of succulent that is very big size in a supermarket. Then I thought, actually I was looking for a gift for my friends, convocation. Then I thought, why not, right? I get this for him, right? He's a guy. He's a best friend of mine. He's a guy. So I thought sending fresh flowers may be too common. maybe I'll send something special. That was the first time.
Ah.
Of course, the plant didn't survive because he didn't know how to take care of it. But after that, right, after I was diagnosed, then I saw these beautiful photos of succulents.
Mhm.
Then I was very, very keen and tempted to, try and plant them, to study about them.
Does this somehow relate to your architecture line? Because based on what I understand, architecture has like a lot of different fields, right? You've got, I don't know the specific names, but some people are more, like you say, on landscaping, so they do more outdoor stuff. Some people are more on structurals, right? So does succulents actually relate to what you do in architecture?
Actually, yes. Back in study time, I also love landscape architecture. I like to do all these drawing about landscaping design. So when I saw succulent, there are so many colors of them. We can do so many things about succulents.
Your brain start working already.
Yeah. And then what most important is I found that succulent can grow using one leaf.
Oh, wow. Interesting fact for you guys out there.
Yeah. When you pluck off one of the leaf from succulent, right, you place it on top of soil, it can continue to grow.
Wow. Very economical, eh?
Yes.
Interesting.
Actually, yes. And then it was like, every day you are receiving gifts from the succulents because you get to have new babies.
It's an everyday affair?
I would say every day you will see some growth from succulents.
Oh, wow. Okay. So when did you, I'm just trying to have a timeline here. So you were diagnosed, you decided to slow down, you got into succulents more passionately. Then where did that lead you to?
Actually, to deal with SLE, right? It was quite difficult, I would say. At first, it was very difficult for me to accept that as a fact that I have to carry this illness my lifetime.
It's a lifetime.
It's a lifetime. It's a chronic illness.
So there's no cure for it.
Yeah, that was what mentioned by doctor and what information you can get online. But myself personally, I'm not having too much thought about that yet.
How are you feeling now? How are you feeling today?
Today I'm actually feeling very lucky to be diagnosed with this illness because I am able to live peacefully with it. At the same time, it's a good reminder for me to have more self-love.
Oh, that's beautiful. Right. And how did you, because are you still doing architecture now?
Yes, I still love architecture. I think it's in my blood.
Wow. Okay, yeah, that's serious business.
Yeah, but I'm not working in this commercial field anymore.
Okay.
I do more like landscaping design.
Oh, so on project basis?
Project basis, yeah.
I see. So how did Little Eden Succulents came about? How did that happen?
Little Eden Succulents. After I found about these cute plants, right, I thought, hey, it's inspiring, and I would like to, do something about these succulents in different colors. So I start to look for succulents plant in Malaysia, but back in that time, it was still not so easy to get a beautiful succulent yet. Even though you get in some nursery, right, they are the color are all faded, not so vibrant, not too healthy. So, but I just very keen to try out. So I just bought them home and start to experiment it.
I see. And what year was this?
It was back in 2016. 2016.
So Little Eden Succulents is the first ever, how do you say?
Succulent terrarium specialist in Malaysia.
There we go.
Yeah.
Specialist.
Because back in that time, right, people still plant succulents with a very limited knowledge. They plant them individually in a pot that is with drainage hole, which is not what we do.
Okay.
We plant succulents together to make them a nice arrangement, just like a flower bouquet in a glass container without a drainage hole. And we experiment about the way to keep them alive without a drainage hole.
Okay, so that is what makes you guys extra special and unique, yeah. I just want to go back to your journey with SLE. What did you learn from that? I mean, it's still an ongoing thing, right? It's not to say that it's done with. But throughout those years until today, what would you say have been the biggest lesson that you've gained from that experience?
I would say you cannot control everything, and you shall not control everything as well.
Oh my gosh.
Because why would I stress myself so much, right? Because I thought everything is in my control. I can control everything. So when I want to complete a task, I have the control in my hands. That is how I stress myself so much. And after being diagnosed with this, right, I learned to, go with the flow. A lot of times things just fall in place on their own.
Oh, this is such an apt advice. You see, one of the main themes of this podcast is really just quarter life crisis that I'm going through, because I don't know what to do, but also like you kind of, like you say, you just want to be in control, right? You want to know where you're going, you want to know where you're heading to, but like it is stressful not knowing, and I don't know what to do, so I feel like
you just have to believe that you are valuable. Just like a tree, right? It doesn't need to inform you that it is a tree, right? So if you are a star, you don't have to do anything to be a star.
Oh,
You are a star yourself.
I'm a star. Thank you, Yeasing. That's like golden words. I'll try to keep that. No, because sometimes it's so difficult to just like let go, You know, they say let go and let God, right? But it's like sometimes you're just like, no, I need to know. I need to be able to plot my journey like based on what I think is best for me. And it doesn't, sometimes life happens and things, go a different way. And then you're there and you're just like, oh, I'm so mad and I'm so stressed. I'm a failure, for example. That's sometimes what I tell myself, right? Because, the things that I want to achieve, I didn't. Or like some of the plans that I had didn't work out. But in hindsight, you're right. Sometimes you might not get that, but still things do fall into place.
Yes. And then at the same time, you have to keep yourself happy, right? I also thought that I could be a famous architect, in the future. But at this moment, I'm still working on stuff that I like. At the same time, without much stress, I don't have to chase for time. I have my own flexibility.
Were you happy back when you were stuck? Okay. Well, that was fast.
When you are chasing for something, right? We easily get to ignore the stuff beside us, around us. And we easily get to miss out the beautiful things around us. Life is a journey. So if you are chasing for the destination, right, you forget to enjoy the process.
That's very true. That's very true. Okay, so one moment just to soak it all in. Okay, Yeasing. So when did you like step out of your because you told me that you were in good company, right? Like and you were all set to, launch a career in architecture, but with SLE that was I'm guessing that was hard.
Yeah. At the same time, I also thought that I'll need an income, right, to sustain my medication expenses and all. So I still work in that company for another 3 years. Yeah, before I left. I left the company during MCO period. I think there is a very good transition period for all of us to rethink about our purpose of life, the lifestyle. Is that the lifestyle that we want? Then I thought MCO could be something very scary, right? COVID can be something very scary. So and unpredictable.
Yep.
Then why not we do something we are so keen to try out?
So I reckon that Little Eden Succulents like boosted during MCO.
Yeah, before MCO period, I was just doing it like hobby basis.
Mm-hmm.
But we also conduct workshops, during the weekend. I still, bring all the plants, our designs to a rented studio, and then we conduct workshops over there because I believe we love to like spread the love of succulents and let people know about all these self-love, the awareness about autoimmune illness. So we still do workshops, but it was like, part-time basis. I'll do it whenever I have the energy to do it. But then after MCO, after I resigned from my past company, I go like full swing into this so that we can continue to inspire more people.
So you relate SLE and LES, can I call it that? SLE and Little Eden Succulents together? How does that work?
It was actually a coincidence, but somehow they just, everything is linked together.
Nice. And how is the treatment like, if I may ask?
Treatment. First of all, there are a lot of medications for these SLE because they want to control the flare. They want to control the autoimmune system so that it is not as active. A lot of time people misunderstood it as the immune system is weak.
Okay.
That's why you get this kind of illness. It's actually not. It's because the immune system is too active and
too strong.
Yeah. That's why it attacks the body tissue itself.
I see.
So I have all these kind of medications, trial and error, to tame my immune system.
Wow. Okay.
And then after that, I actually went through this chemotherapy as well.
Oh, chemotherapy is also applicable for...
Yeah, it's actually the same medication used for chemotherapy, but for our treatment, it is a milder dose.
I see. And how is that like? Because I know a lot of people who, don't have pleasant experiences with
actually
chemotherapy.
For my case, I thought, because back in that time, right, during my chemo treatment, right, I was still with the ex-company.
Okay.
So I thought it was a good chance for me to rest also because for the chemotherapy session, you just have to lie down and then you get the drips. You get to be served with lunch.
Oh, wow.
And tea sometimes.
Very strategic, Yeasing. Okay. And how, like, I'm just kind of curious. Is this, because I know somebody who's also going through this and I'm not sure if it's the same thing, but is it steroids?
Yes.
Oh.
Steroid is the medication that I still take until today. But because steroids cannot be taken for a long period of time, right? And I've been taking it for about 6 to 7 years now. So doctors are always trying to reduce the dosage of steroids. So I'm still in the stage of a trial about different kind of medications to replace these steroids.
I see. Have you been in touch with other SLE patients?
Yes, I actually have this cousin who is going through SLE as well. So we encourage each other because we know what we went through, right? And then both of us was having this kidney issue also due to SLE. So we just
is it because of SLE or because of the treatments from SLE?
It's actually because of SLE.
I see.
SLE, this immune system attack my kidney. That is how we have this protein leak in the urine.
Okay. Wow. And speaking of cousins, right? How was your family during? Would you say you are like way better now in terms of your, well-being compared to before during your early years of finding out about SLE? And how were your family during that period?
I think it was a bit difficult for them to accept it as a fact as well because I'm actually the youngest in the house. And then during this period of battling with SLE, right, I had very severe hair fall as well until I lost all my hair. It's like about 90%, I would say. I think for them, right, they feel heartache about what I went through. Yeah, and then they're being very protective as well. You don't do all this work. You don't stay up late. You have to eat healthily.
But you were still working, right?
I was still working.
How
yes.
to not stay up late?
I just slow down myself a bit, and then just do according to the flow lah. But about the food, at first I was quite cautious about what I take into my mouth. But then after that, I thought, as long as it is not over, right? Then
If
every
ac-
food should be.
Sorry, if according to doctors,
Mm.
do you have a specific diet that you need to follow, or like
According to doctors, actually no. But we'll have to try to reduce food that is inflammative, like fried food, snacks, chips and all.
I'm sorry, I just gave you snacks.
That's okay. That's a cookie. It's different,
I see.
It's not fried food.
So fried foods are always like the major trigger, yeah?
Yeah, inflammative especially.
I see. So what happens if you do take fried food? I'm guessing you stay off them now?
No. No, I still take them.
Okay.
I would say we will have to have a balance lah.
Mm-hmm.
I still take fried food, but not too often.
So you are not a believer of like full on restriction and like, because some people, when they, they have this sort of things, they really, really, some people say discipline lah. Some people say, apa? Betul-betul jaga, I guess. But at the same time, it's kind of torturing, I guess, when you go out and people are having like fried chicken and you know that you like fried chicken, but you're trying your best to control yourself throughout the years. Do you not, you don't take that approach, yeah?
I don't really take that approach because I had these two family members, my father and my brother, diagnosed with cancer, and they control their diet very well, very well. But then I still believe, right? You still have to enjoy the moment, After being diagnosed with certain illness, it can be very draining for the mental already. And then if they still control their diet, right, until there is no appetite to take in any food, right, you don't have the energy to battle. Like for my father and brother's case, right, actually they're really very disciplined in terms of their diet. But for myself, I'm not. But I live happily. Before after my father passed away.
Oh, so sorry.
That's okay. It was about 17 years ago. Back then. Yeah, I was still 13 years old. My father was diagnosed with this cancer. Then I was still young, right? I'm not sure what was it about. But I knew that my family member control his diet very strictly. Like you cannot eat fried food, of course. You can only eat biscuit. You are hungry, you eat biscuit lah for tea. You don't eat the kueh and all. You have to restrict your sugar intake. Then I still remember my father actually threw tantrum about the food that he was being served. And we were not really like understanding about that. After that, right, after he passed away, our neighbors, because we stay in a small town, so we know each other. Our neighbors told my mom saying, actually, my father, he went to this restaurant and he ordered the mantis prawn. It was believed to be a bit like
a cause, yeah?
Yeah, not really a cause. It's like the food that we shall avoid during battling with all this. So my father secretly, went to the restaurant to order this food and then enjoy himself. Then back in that time, my mom was like, you see your father still not too obedient about the food that he takes, yeah. But after that, after I was diagnosed with this SLE, I understand the feeling. I thought, I feel so grateful that he get to eat the food, before he passed away, the food that he likes. So I think everything, right, we have to strike a balance. You have to control the diet, yes, but occasionally you can just, have some food that you love, you really love. That's actually okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing, Yeasing.
No worries.
Right. And how did you keep yourself motivated during? I keep saying during, but I don't. It's an ongoing thing. I just feel like there's a a Yeasing during that time, because you said you were not happy, you were super stressed, and you were depressed over finding this out. And now look at you, you're beaming, you're glowing,
Thank you.
So I feel like it feels like I can't say it's a past thing, but it feels like you've definitely, evolved and have grown as a person to embrace this condition. I wouldn't know, I wouldn't even begin to think that, oh, you are a chronic, illness patient or anything of that sort if I didn't know today. But back then, how was it like, just getting up from bed and going about your everyday routine?
Actually, succulents keep me going. Yeah, of course, other than my family member, the support of my family members. Every morning, right, I just feel so happy to look at the plants, to communicate with them. I just look at them, and then somehow they just have these kind of messages to me, about succulents. Even with pata, right, pata accidentally, they can still continue to grow. And then even though it is not growing beautifully, it can still survive very well. And someday when the sunlight is sufficient, it will continue to grow beautifully again. That is how motivates me. I thought, okay, this is my current situation. I am having very bad inflammation. We have all these patches, inflammation. I lost all my hairs. I thought this is just a process. Even if succulent, even if pata also can grow, right? Then how about myself? I just losing some hairs, right? It's not that I am having like very severe situation.
So there's a philosophy behind it, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow, interesting. And how did Little Eden Succulents grow like to where you are today? Do you want to tell everybody like where Little Eden Succulents is today? Because you guys are like at the mall and everything. Like, wow.
Yeah. We are very lucky. We are invited to be in this Star Hill, the Star Hill KL. There is our second branch at the moment. We are very happy to share the happiness, to more people. Now that the succulents are very popular, right? A lot of people know about succulents, but still the knowledge is very limited. So we are very lucky to be able to at that spot at the city center of KL to share the knowledge to more people.
All right, so we will find out more about Little Eden Succulents right after this quick break. And we're back. Hi. Okay, Yee Zhing, I think it's time to further introduce Little Eden Succulents. I feel like not many people are, the ones who are really into plants, they probably know because this is their line, right? This is their field of interest. But people who might not be aware as much, how would you like to introduce Little Eden Succulents to these people? Why should people consider succulents as a hobby or something to look forward to?
Little Eden Succulents, right? The mission of Little Eden Succulents is to bring happiness to people and to bring the self-love awareness to people as well. We have went through this a lot of workshops to inspire people about how succulents can be therapeutic. Because succulents, they are very resilient. They are colorful. You really feel the joy of planting succulents. Of course, some other plants, right, like green leafy plants, they are all very beautiful. But succulents, they don't require much maintenance. You don't have to really take care of it and then water it every day. It's very easy for city people, especially people like us, like me.
So tak susah lah nak jaga.
Tak susah, senang je.
Like, okay, if I don't have any experience, okay, actually my experience with planting stuff is literally, an onion? I once put it inside the soil and just waited. And apparently, like, like the what do you call it? The daun, it started to grow, and that was it. But in terms of caring for it, I didn't do much. So how is it with succulents?
Succulents, they are easy. If you have a plant, right, you can just pluck off the leaf. Of course, for specific species, you pluck off the leaf and then you put on top of soil. It can continue to grow into a new life again. There you have another new pot of plant.
Oh.
If the plant is growing taller and taller, right, you can always chop it off.
You can?
Yes,
Is it
you
not
can
going to
do that.
is that not game over for the...
No, it's not.
It will continue to...
It will continue to grow. After you chop off, right, you just let dry the wound a few days and then you apply into soil again.
It's called a wound.
It will become a new plant again.
Oh, wow.
So actually planting succulents, right, can be very very therapeutic. You get to feel like you are having gifts like daily.
Oh, and what colors are available? Because I recall like there's like pink, green, of course.
Every color you can imagine.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
There is also black color succulents as well.
No way. Is this natural?
Yes.
So succulents are like sorry, I'm just trying to understand. If in Malay, do you know what it's called? Because I don't.
For succulent?
Yeah.
They're called succulent.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How do you spell that? Succulent.
I think succulent, SUKULEN.
Oh.
If not mistaken.
Okay. If not mistaken. Okay, guys. Interesting. And how long do they last actually?
They can last for years.
Years.
For
Like
years.
one plant could last for years?
Yeah.
Indoor?
It requires bright indirect sunlight as well.
I see.
So you have to provide sunlight, especially those that with special colors like pink color, purple color, orange color. You have to expose to more sunlight for the color to turn more vibrant.
I see. So if it does not get enough sunlight, then it would not be as bright.
Yeah, it would turn into pale green color.
I see. Yeah, I've seen those. So
Yeah.
that's because of a lack of sunlight.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
And you can also see the succulents growing taller and taller, growing very leggy. We say, if it is lacking of sunlight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The word leggy doesn't feel.
Some people thought the plant is actually growing very well, growing tall very fast. It's actually not. It's actually the plant looking for sunlight.
Oh.
Somehow the caring method of succulents, right, also inspire me, to not take control of things too seriously. You don't have to pour in love to succulent like daily. You don't have to look at it seem like dry, so you water it. You don't have to do that. Sometimes you just have to let it grow naturally.
Let it grow. Let it grow. Cool. So like what other fun facts about succulents that you can share with us? Because I don't know much. And I know a lot of people who also don't know much.
About succulents, like I mentioned just now, sunlight is actually a thing for them.
Okay.
You have to provide sunlight for all sorts of succulents.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there are a few species that can tolerate lower sunlight, but we still have to put it at least next to the window. And then succulent doesn't require much watering.
Okay.
It prefers the soil to dry up thoroughly before you water again.
Okay. So usually how long would that?
For a small pot of succulents, it is about once a week only. We just water once a week. And then when we water, right, we water until the soil is all wet.
Oh.
It's like the behavior of plant, If you pour in water for succulent, right, because some people that mention, they spray water on succulent, actually it's a big no-no.
Okay.
Another thing is that water it just a few drops daily. It's actually not good for succulent as well because they are like that. They have this behavior, right? They know your pattern of watering.
Oh, they do. Wow.
Yes. If let's say you water daily, they will know that okay, I can get water every day, so I don't have to absorb as much.
Oh.
But if you water only when the soil is totally dry, right? Then they'll know, okay, I'll have to go through this drought period before I get water again. So when you water, they'll try to absorb as much water as they can. That is how you grow succulent until it's chubby and beautifully. So, succulents are actually growing even more beautiful when it is under stress.
Oh, okay. Now that is...
When we mention about stress for succulents, we actually mention about, sunlight. You provide more sunlight. you provide lesser water.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they grow beautifully.
So like self-love is important. A reasonable amount of stress is also important for growth. Yeah, would you say?
Yes, I would say so. And stress is actually not something that could beat you down. You can manage it, right?
You must learn how to manage it so that it doesn't get the best out of you.
Yeah,
the
just
better
like
out of you.
succulent. They know how to manage the stress to grow beautifully.
So, Yeasing, are succulents supposed to be big or small? Because I always see the small one.
Succulents can grow very big.
How big is big?
This big. I would say about 20-inch is a possible size also.
Wow.
For succulents, yes. And then you also have all sorts of, big species succulent as well. Especially in maybe Australia, this kind of country, it is very common.
How about here?
Here, we seldom see this big size of succulents, mainly due to the weather and then the knowledge of people about how to take care of succulents.
How's the response amongst Malaysians with succulents?
They still some people thought that it is quite difficult because they don't know how to gauge the watering and all. And then a lot of people just put it indoor. There is actually a very big...
It does, because it looks like, it's so, I don't know, it's like, it looks delicate and it looks like it deserves to be indoor. But they like the sun, yeah?
Yeah, they like the sun. And then they like to be in a drier environment. So we'll always avoid putting succulents in the bathroom.
Oh, yeah, you see, that's the thing. If I were to think about succulents, I would just imagine like, those cute ones put at the side of the mirror, kind of, but okay. No good practice right there. But like, hold on, I forgot what I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask something, but I forgot. Yeah, okay. So there's that. And I'm just going to go with another question because once I get back to that question, I'll put it out.
Yeah, sure.
Why are succulents great as gifts?
Because succulents actually symbolize resilience. It comes with a lot of strength, in the plant itself. It can continue to grow. It is lively. It is colorful. It brings in happiness to people. Especially when you put them together.
Aww.
You see all sorts of different colors together, right? And then another fun fact about succulents, they actually grow prettier when they are planted together.
Oh, okay. Is this like a placebo effect because you see it's going together? Memang betul-betul cantik. Or is this?
I would say when they are in this restricted area, right, limited space, right, they would live harmoniously. You are taking that space. Okay, I'll grow this side.
Oh, that's adorable. Okay. And okay, you started doing this full time in 2020.
In 2020, yes.
2020. So you left your company. How did your parents or like how were your families
react about that? Okay. At first, they actually advised me to think twice, but then after that, right? I actually told them I would like to really try this out. I would like to inspire more people. It's happier to spend time with plants together with people that love plants. Because there is this flow of love when we are talking to people about plants. It's not like it's not like in the commercial field, we will have to talk about money and all. In this plant field, right, we don't really talk about that much. We just share the happiness, and then you get to meet a lot of inspiring people.
So how much convincing did it take before your family okay, they would support this venture?
I think they're very supportive about it actually, and they're happy for me.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. And okay, so we have a bit more time, so I just want to run through these. I would say these are the important questions. What is your advice to those out there battling chronic illness, or maybe just illnesses in general, because it's never fun, especially if you have to go to the hospital and like, spend your time there. And like in your case, it's something that, the doctor's like, oh, it's a lifelong thing. You have to go through these treatments. How, or like, what's your advice to them?
Don't dwell into the problems. You must always have a perspective about your life. When you are dwelling into a problem, right, and then you look it as it is a very big problem, right, then you will never have a perspective. And not let these any sort of illness to define you, what you shall do, what you shouldn't.
As for the family members and friends, because they always, they have all the best intentions, right? Don't do this, don't do that, don't eat this, don't eat that. Oh, you should try this treatment. You should, they're like just pushing you out there. And I am one of those people. I am, because I think when somebody that I care for and I love dearly, right, is in pain or is going through something like that, I get stressed too, like I'm like, oh, what can I do? How can I help? Oh, you know what? You have to do this or you have to take your medication, so. And yes, I'm aware that causes more stress to the patient and sometimes it can cause like conflicts as well. But, you being a patient yourself, like, what's your advice? What would you say to people like me who are, we have best intentions, we have good intentions, but we're maybe not executing it properly. So,
like for myself, right, being a patient, right, I learned that I shouldn't take control of everything. I think there is a lesson to a family as well. Not trying to take control over too many things. And sometimes you just have to let go and just be relaxed about things.
Yeah, that's hard. Because sometimes you get worried, I mean, people say, oh, respect what the patient wants, right? But sometimes you just know, okay, if we just let this person be is how, because sometimes you're very stubborn, I don't want to go to the hospital. I don't want to do this treatment. But you're like, okay, but if you do this, you could put, the chances are you'll get better rather than you let it be, right? So you have people who are like, very, oh, let's do this. Come on. Like, what's the hold up, But then you also have people, because you are the one going through it, right? So where do we find a middle ground when it comes to things like this?
Always express your love. Whenever you are, trying to give advice, to do something that you think is good for the patient, always come from the perspective of love instead of what you thought is good.
I see.
So if let's say you're doing something good for a patient, but it is not well being taken, then you cannot express your love. Then you lost the purpose, right?
So being able to express this and connect it with that you come from a place of love is important. Yeah.
Yes. And as a family member, if you are expressing your love gently, I think the patient would have this awareness as well. Okay, I have to take care of myself better so that I can stay longer with you. We can spend more time and create memories together. Yeah. It's a journey.
True. Did you have to go through that? Because sometimes when it comes to these sort of things, it can become quite heated, isn't it? Like and get pretty stressful for both parties, for all the parties involved.
Yes, it can be quite stressful, but always go back to love. Whenever you are having conflicts and all, you must always remember that are actually come from love, from the families, from the friends. Every of our intentions are out of love. It's just that sometimes we don't know how to express them, and we express it in a
harsh way, right? Sometimes, yeah. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us that maybe we have yet to cover this time around?
I think
whether it's about succulents. Oh yeah, you know what? I think you should tell them more about your studio and let's say if they're interested to come for your workshop, when, where.
yeah. We have this studio in PJ area. It is open for appointment.
Oh, open for
So
appointment.
if any of you would like to have a session with succulents or with myself, to just chit chat and all, we are always happy to.
The succulent specialist.
Yeah. And if you are having any sorts of, plants problems, you can always come to us also.
Is it specific to only succulents or
Not really. All sorts of plants.
Wow. Okay. All right. So I think so how many staff do you have now?
We have 7 team members.
Wow.
They are all very helpful.
Oh.
And assisting me in a way that really, really they are really assisting me, not asking for any returns.
Oh.
I'm
You're
very grateful for
blessed.
that. Yeah.
Okay, I think one more last question. Oh, no, I keep saying last question actually. That's why I say it's play by ear. I'm just like, it's in my head, so I'm just gonna say. How is working life now compared to before? This is a full-time thing. Businesses are stressful, aren't they? And you're managing a few outlets. You have one in PJ, you have one in Star Hill. Is it not as stressful as when you were in architecture?
If you have passion in doing it, right, you actually wouldn't feel that much of stress. You will be automatically motivated to do all the stuff we are working on. And we know our direction is towards, to bring happiness, to have a bigger ground, for people to learn about plants, to experience plants. That is also our intention, to set up the Star Hill branch so that people get to see, how cute they are. And then they'll get to explore how easy it is to take care of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying?
And from there, they can, get inspired, just like me, get inspired by plants also.
Okay. But what if they cannot come to Star Hill or PJ Studio?
We do have our website online. They can always reach us through website,
So do you do delivery, like postage delivery?
Oh, yes. Yes, we do.
Where's the furthest you've delivered to?
We have delivered to West Malaysia.
Okay.
But for East Malaysia, right, whenever you are, traveling to our side, you can always.
Okay. All right. Datang eh. Okay. So Yeasing, anything else before we wrap up the show this time around?
I wish everyone who is listening to this, I wish you enjoy life to the maximum and don't let anything restrict you and define you.
Mic drop. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. This is QIFA and Yeasing signing out. Till next time. Bye-bye.